everybody, and welcome to Movie Recaps with Brit. Today, we will be looking at a movie titled ADHD Is Necessary. Without further ado, let's get started. In the future, the government desires that only exceptional individuals should inhabit their nation. To accomplish this, they introduce an embryo into every woman. The mothers are entrusted with the duty of nurturing their offspring into high-achieving students. Those who excel academically are granted a home in a prestigious complex, and both the student and their mother are presented with a luminous badge as recognition for their contribution to society. However, those who perform poorly are forced to reside in the squalid pigeon cage slums. At the start of the film, a mother receives a new embryo implantation, and she is provided with an instruction manual on how to raise the embryo. She is instructed to adhere to the guidelines carefully. Yang Chuan, a renowned mother, had raised the finest student the institution had ever seen, Ruojia. Tragically, Ruojia had passed away in an accident a few years prior. After that, Chuan was implanted with a second embryo and gave birth to Nova. Presently, she is being honored in a ceremony for her book on how mothers can assist their children in achieving good grades. Chuan is highly regarded as a top mother by many. During the event, a woman from the audience asks her for the secret to raising top-performing children. The question catches Chuan off guard, and she remains silent. The host announces that the question is personal, and Chuan need not respond. It appears evident that Chuan is concealing something. In a separate location, government officials are in a meeting to discuss the rise in children with narcolepsy. These children are sent to special programs and executed by the state under the premise of being defective embryos. Researcher Yi Xian realizes that all the students suffering from sleep disorders have scored below the minimum standard. He connects the dots and uncovers that students who perform poorly are being falsely labeled as having narcolepsy so that the state can eliminate them. When he challenges his superiors about this revelation, they falsely accuse him of leading a subversive group against the state. He is then apprehended. Chuan walks back to their apartment with her daughter following the program. The guards are escorting the students and their mothers, who scored poorly, to a different location. Suddenly, a woman rushes towards them, screaming that the students will be executed. They become frightened and refuse to go with the guards. As the number of people increases, chaos ensues and they start to flee. In the midst of the confusion, Chuan drops her scarf on the ground. When the commotion subsides, Nova offers to wash the scarf while heading to the bathroom. Ling Ene, the mother of the researcher Yi Xian, recognizes Nova as Chuan's daughter. She appears to have some knowledge about Chuan, but she doesn't reveal anything to the girl. Ling Ene simply gives her a keychain, which she claims is a present from her deceased older brother. A perplexed Nova returns to her mother, who is watching the news on a large display. The report indicates that Yi Xian went against the state and its system, leading to his execution. His mother has been stripped of her position as one of the top mothers due to his actions. Nova identifies the woman who gave her the keychain but doesn't inform her mother about the encounter. At home, Nova's tutor teaches her about the inaugural cloning process in preparation for her impending exams. Chuan worries because Nova is not as conscientious as her older brother. She desires her daughter to achieve an A+ grade at any cost, as their privileges will be revoked if she fails. Furthermore, Chuan is recognized as the city's finest mother, so her daughter's poor performance is an embarrassment to her. Upon finishing the lesson, the tutor honestly informs Nova that he doubts she will pass her upcoming examination, given her declining grades in recent years. One of the bulbs on Chuan's top mother pin extinguishes, and she assumes it's a technical issue, but the teacher explains that the lights turn off when their child's performance is poor. Chuan had been unaware of this function since her children had consistently achieved the highest grades. The light's disappearance embarrasses her, and she conceals it with a scarf. After speaking with the tutor, she takes Nova to the dove cage, where individuals with low grades reside, intending to expose her daughter to the life she will lead if she doesn't excel academically. Deep down, Chuan realizes that she is not concerned about her child's well-being, but only about the shame she will face if they have to leave the apartment complex. The following day, Chuan must go grocery shopping. Feeling ashamed of her pin, she attempts to remove it, but it blares an alarm, indicating that she must wear it at all times. She successfully conceals it with a scarf and proceeds to the store, but a woman notices it anyway. The woman inquires about Nova's academic performance, and Chuan fibs, claiming that her daughter is doing better than ever. Upon returning home, she observes a woman being evicted from the apartment complex due to her son's poor grades. She blames her son for his inadequacy. Having enjoyed a luxurious life for the past 15 years, the woman is now compelled to adapt to the slum lifestyle. Chuan clings tightly to her pin, realizing that she might experience the same fate. Later, she monitors Nova taking an exam through her tablet. Nova appears to be struggling to answer the questions, which worries Chuan even more. Soon, the second light on her pin also goes out. She now has only 3 more lights before losing her privileges and being forced to leave the apartment complex. The following day at school, Nova behaves strangely. She keeps fidgeting with her books and pen. When the person seated behind her tells her to stop moving, she loses her temper and lashes out at him. Even when the teacher asks her to be polite, she rudely informs him that his class is dull. Everyone is taken aback by Nova's sudden change in behavior, as she is typically known to be gentle and polite. Chuan takes Nova to the hospital for a checkup the next day, where she is diagnosed with ADHD. The doctor suggests that stress from exams may have contributed to her condition, and advises Chuan to take good care of her daughter to prevent the possibility of suicide. The following day at school, while sweeping the floor, Nova accidentally hits her teacher's leg, but instead of apologizing, she tells him to watch where he's going. The conversation quickly turns into an argument, and the teacher holds Nova's arm and demands an apology. Nova runs away and threatens to jump off the building. At last, her classmate Qixing intercepts her. Chuan brings Nova home and prepares dinner for her. It is then revealed that Chuan has convinced Nova to feign ADHD as an excuse to avoid the upcoming exams. Chuan praises Nova for her convincing performance. The next day is Nova's birthday, and Chuan wants her to discard all of the gifts she receives from her classmates. Nova is hesitant because she does not want to hurt her friends, but Chuan persuades her to bring a razor to school. At school, Nova's friends greet her on her birthday. She knows what she is supposed to do, but she cannot bring herself to harm them. Chuan watches her daughter on a laptop as she puts the razor away and carefully unwraps her presents. Later, Qixing and Nova discuss her strange behavior from the previous day. She insists that her behavior was due to test anxiety. When Qixing asks if her mother is putting too much pressure on her, Nova denies it and praises her mother for being supportive. After returning home, Nova apologizes to her mother and expresses her desire to stop pretending to have ADHD and focus on her studies. Later that night, Nova shows her mother a keyring given to her by a stranger in the bathroom. Chuan is surprised but doesn't reveal that the keyring was made by her late son Ruojie as a birthday present. Chuan urges Nova to continue studying, and a flashback reveals that Chuan discouraged Ruojie's creative pursuits and urged him to focus on academics. In the present time, Nova puts in more effort into her studies than ever before and stops pretending to have ADHD. One day, she is approached by the elderly woman Ling Na again. Ling Na has learnt about Nova's ADHD diagnosis, and inquires whether Nova truly has it or if it was her mother's scheme. Ling Na exposes that, according to the manual, students with ADHD are considered faulty embryos and are sent to an advancement program where they are discreetly killed. In the event that a student performs poorly in academics, both the student and their mother are banished to the slums. However, if a student has defects like ADHD, they are taken to advancement programs while their mothers can still maintain their privileges. Chuan has been pressuring Nova to pretend to have ADHD because she desires to keep her benefits even if it comes at the cost of her daughter's life. Nova is unable to believe what she hears. In addition, Nova learns that her brother Ruojie's death was not accidental. She protests that he was the top student in the country, so it cannot be true. Later that day, she reads an article about Ruojie's death and discovers that he was hit by a truck. She then visits the truck driver, who admits that he was coerced by her mother to take the blame. Nova finally comes to the realization that her mother was somehow involved in his death. The following day, she questions Qixing about the program that kills people. However, he warns her to keep quiet as it is illegal to discuss it. As Qixing lives in the slums, he has intimate knowledge of the state's unjust program. Chuan observes their conversation on the surveillance cameras and meets with Qixing the next day. She advises him to stay away from her daughter. However, Qixing's mother defends her son, asserting that he has the right to talk to whomever he pleases. Upon discovering that she will soon be sent to the advancement program, Nova flees from home and seeks refuge at Qixing's residence. With the help of his mother, she is led through a hidden tunnel that takes them to a camp for survivors of the advancement program. The camp was established by Ling Na after her son's execution. Ling Na believes that everyone has a talent and that grades should not define their worth. She has created a space where children can pursue their passions. Although Nova is welcomed with open arms, she feels guilty for betraying her mother by staying there. She leaves a message behind and runs away when nobody is looking. She conveys her appreciation to them in the message and assures them of her confidentiality regarding the camp. Upon arriving home, Chuan instructs her to eat her meal. Nova expresses remorse for her failure and makes a commitment to work harder. Chuan remains silent when asked if she loves Nova. Nova experiences dizziness while showering and collapses, eventually awakening in a hospital bed where she is identified as a defective embryo and designated for termination through the advancement program. In the subsequent sequence, we observe Chuan receiving a new embryo implant. When Chuan awakens from the surgery, she discovers herself in the tunnel leading to the survivor camp. Ling Na inquires whether she feels content after murdering 2 of her offspring. She predicts that her third child will follow in the same footsteps. Nevertheless, Chuan remains unyielding and proclaims her victory in this conflict. Upon returning home, she retains her apartment and all the associated privileges. She pens a book regarding the loss of her 2 children and earns a profit from it. Through a flashback, we learn that Ruojie aspired to become a carpenter, but Chuan failed to encourage his aspirations. This resulted in his depression, ultimately leading to his demise. Furthermore, she reports Ling Ene's clandestine camp to the authorities, resulting in the arrest of all the students involved. In the concluding scenes, she participates in an interview to promote her latest book. While gazing into the camera, she asserts that there is always a way to achieve one's desires. Thank you for watching our movie recap. While it may seem simple, it actually took a lot of hard work and dedication to produce. If you enjoyed the video, we kindly ask you to show your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll stay updated on our latest content and help us continue creating more in-depth analyses and critiques of the movies you love. Thank you again for your support.